So I joined Team 3932 early last year in about April, and so really this is my first full season here. Just from what happened last year, because during the summer we learned a lot about software and software applications, and then later in the year more about the building aspect of it as we were preparing for the parade, as well as just fixing up the robot for our competitions. I've learned a lot about, since I specialize in software and I work mostly here in the green room, I've learned a lot about the differences between software used in a more idealistic environment versus the real world. Because software, for example, when you're building a website or when you're making a game, everything usually works as intended, besides the bugs, which is just a part of, writing the code. Everything usually ends up working as intended afterwards, but here you have to deal with reality, and that's, I think, what is the biggest point of being on this team. Like, you have to work with the problems that you don't necessarily expect or that just happen and are completely out of your control. I was introduced to this program by the head of the technology department of my school. His name was Mr. Basile, and he said, well, we have this program that we host here at our school, and it would be a really cool thing if you could come join us. So I said, sure, I'll look at it, and I came to the robotics building, and just from being around the kids, even though I didn't really know them because they come from many different schools and different places, I just knew that I would love this place, and it turns out that I did. First meeting the kids here, I realized, even though I didn't know them personally, that when I did come to know them, that we would all be friends, because we all have the same interests, and that makes the experience really a great one. Because when I come here after a day in school and the stress of homework and exams and everything, I can just come here, relax, be myself, and work on something that I really find interesting. So being on Team 3932, as far as my future, really has, I think, set in stone what I expect to be doing for the rest of my life. When I was younger, I always wanted to, go after my dad and be something in the STEM field. So I was between engineering, physics, math, something like that. But coming here and experiencing, even after just 1 year, I already know that I want to be an engineer. And maybe, I don't know what type, maybe aerospace, maybe just mechanical in general. But having the experience working here, well, I wouldn't call it working, but in a way, it sort of is, because it's the same type of experience. You're working with a group of people that you get to know, and you're working on a project with, even though the objective is to play a game in the end, it's not that much different from any other objective that you would have working in the field. And so the experience has allowed me to make a choice that I feel will become very important later in my life.